On Monday, Trump told a group of farmers Deere could face major tariffs if the company outsources jobs to Mexico.
I just noticed behind me John Deere tractors. I know a lot about John Deere. I love the company. But as you know, they've announced a few days ago that they're going to move a lot of their manufacturing business to Mexico. I'm just notifying John Deere right now. If you do that, we're putting a 200% tariff on everything that you want.
John Deere just dropped a bombshell that's got the political world fired up and the farming industry on edge. The iconic American brand is expanding its operations into Mexico, doubling down on a global strategy, just as Donald Trump is pushing hard to bring jobs back to the U.S. What came next? A scorching threat from Trump and a growing rift that's putting farmers, consumers, and investors in a tough spot. Is this a savvy business move for John Deere or a bold defiance of Trump's tariff plans? And what does it mean for the future of American manufacturing? Let's dive in and break it down.
John Deere is moving some production from Iowa to Mexico. The company is acquiring land there to build a facility that will be operational by 2026. The facility will produce mid-frame skid steer loaders and compact track loaders. The move impacts workers in Dubuque, though it's unclear how many workers. The company says this is in response to rising manufacturing.
When John Deere announced its plan to expand manufacturing into Mexico, it wasn't just a routine business move. It was a game changer for a company steeped in nearly 200 years of American heritage. Known for its iconic green and yellow machines and a rock-solid reputation among farmers, this shift caught a lot of attention. But for Deere's executives, it was a no-brainer. Not about turning their back on tradition, but about evolving to thrive. In late 2024, John Deere committed $55 million to build a new manufacturing facility in Ramos Arizpe, Mexico. This wasn't a random choice. The location offers prime logistics, a ready workforce, and easy access to both North and South American markets. What makes this move stand out isn't just the price tag. It's how Deere is positioning itself for the future. Instead of leaning solely on U.S. operations, the company is going global, and they're not apologizing for it. From a business standpoint, it's hard to argue with the logic. Labor costs in Mexico are a fraction of those in the United States. On average, Mexican manufacturing workers earn about 70% less than their American counterparts. That kind of savings is tough to ignore when you're competing in a cutthroat global market against leaner rivals like Japan's Kubota and India's Mahindra, both of which benefit from lower production costs. But it's not just about cheaper labor. The Mexico plant is a key piece of Deere's broader logistics strategy to streamline its supply chain. With U.S. ports often clogged and domestic manufacturing slowed by delays and labor shortages, a facility in Mexico gives Deere more agility. It also brings production closer to Latin American markets where demand for agricultural equipment is surging, especially in Brazil and Argentina, where commercial farming is booming. The new plant will also help Deere ramp up production of mid-size and compact tractors, which are increasingly popular among small and mid-size farms worldwide. With the Mexico facility, Deere can tailor production for export without overloading its U.S. operations. It's a smart play for scale, speed, and flexibility. Despite some political chatter, and we'll touch on that later, the numbers tell the story. Deere's global expansion is a calculated move, not a wild gamble. That $55 million investment isn't just cash spent. It's a seed planted for future growth.
Under my leadership, we're going to take other countries' jobs. We're going to bring thousands and thousands of businesses and trillions of dollars in wealth back to the good old USA.
When news hit about John Deere expanding into Mexico, Donald Trump jumped on it fast. At a recent conference, he went all in, calling out the company by name and threatening a 200% tariff on every piece of Deere equipment made outside the U.S. The headlines blew up, and Trump was right where he loves to be. Center stage, taking big swings at a corporate target. This wasn't just spontaneous bluster. The 200% tariff threat was a calculated move to draw a clear line between what Trump sees as true American companies and those he believes are betraying U.S. workers. His message stays true to the America First brand he's built over nearly a decade. To Trump, a company like John Deere moving even part of its production to Mexico is a direct insult to the nation and, more importantly, to the blue-collar workers who make up his core supporters. He's played this card before. During his first term, he slapped sweeping tariffs on steel and aluminum imports, sparking trade tensions with both allies and rivals. In 2018, he imposed 25% tariffs on $250 billion in Chinese goods, kicking off a lengthy trade war. American manufacturers and farmers got caught in the fallout, dealing with higher costs and retaliatory tariffs on soybeans, pork, and machinery. The results? Mixed at best. Some industries got a temporary shield, but others, especially agriculture and manufacturing, faced soaring costs and shrinking export. A 2019 Federal Reserve study estimated the trade war cost the U.S. economy over 300,000 jobs and disrupted supply chains big time. Despite the bold talk and splashy headlines, the long-term wins from those tariffs are still up for debate. Now, with John Deere in his sights, Trump's dusting off a familiar playbook.
Because of the tariffs, we have $7 trillion already committed to be invested in the United States, building auto plants, building chip companies, and all sorts of companies are coming into our country at levels that we've never seen before. What's going to happen with the market, I can't tell you, but I can tell you our country has gotten a lot stronger.
This time it's not so simple. John Deere isn't some faceless global corporation. It's an American icon woven into the fabric of farming communities. Communities that form a huge chunk of Trump's voter base. Taking on Deere might feel like a win for his supporters, but it's a risky move that could threaten the very jobs he's fighting for. While Trump was blasting Deere in the media, the company didn't hide behind closed doors. They didn't apologize. They didn't even blink when Trump threatened a 200% tariff on John Deere products made in Mexico. Most expected a carefully worded press release or maybe a quiet retreat. That's not what happened. Instead, John Deere stood firm. No backtracking, no spin, just a clear, confident message. This isn't betrayal, it's survival. Deere explained that their Mexico expansion wasn't about abandoning American workers. It was about securing the company's future in a cutthroat global market. To counter the backlash, Deere laid out the facts. Less than 5% of their North American production would shift to Mexico. The vast majority of their big equipment would still roll out of U.S. factories, especially in Iowa and Illinois. The message was crystal clear. John Deere isn't turning its back on America, it's expanding to stay competitive. Deere's executives doubled down, refusing to be bullied into short-sighted decisions. With rising U.S. costs, unpredictable supply chains, and fierce competition from abroad, standing still isn't an option. Deere isn't just selling tractors. They're battling on a global stage where margins are razor-thin and rivals are relentless. To win, they have to think strategically, not politically. Not everyone bought it. Some media outlets slammed Deere for what they called corporate tone deafness, arguing that picking a fight with a presidential frontrunner and his loyal rural base was a PR disaster. But others saw it differently. Bloomberg analysts called Deere's move pragmatic and forward-thinking, noting that long-term growth hinges on markets like Latin America and Asia, not just domestic sales. Wall Street agreed. Deere's stock took a slight hit after Trump's outburst, but bounced back fast as investors backed the logic. Behind the scenes, corporate leaders were watching closely. If Deere had caved, it would have signaled that loud political threats could derail smart business moves. By standing their ground, Deere didn't just defend a decision. They challenged how much power political pressure really has over private companies. But even as politics and markets clash, something bigger looms on the horizon, something even Trump can't stop. Technology automation is rewriting the rules of farming, and the next disruption is coming whether anyone's ready or not. The use of robots is on the rise, and now they're taking over human jobs. According to a new report from Oxford Economics, robots are on track to eliminate up to 20 million manufacturing jobs by 2030. Every election cycle, we hear the same promise from Trump: bring back American manufacturing jobs. It's a crowd pleaser at rallies, striking a chord with real economic fears. But when you dig into industries like agricultural equipment, that promise starts to unravel. Take John Deere. Even if they moved every factory back to the U.S. overnight, those jobs wouldn't go to people, they'd go to machines. Modern manufacturing isn't the 1950s assembly line anymore. Today, robots weld, paint, and assemble faster, cheaper, and without breaks or benefits. Deere's plants, whether in Iowa or Mexico, are already packed with automation. The average factory worker isn't competing with overseas labor. They're up against tireless tech. And it's not just factories. Farming itself is changing. John Deere's pouring billions into innovation to stay ahead. Their new autonomous ADR tractor, no driver needed, it uses GPS, cameras, and AI to work fields 24/7, no supervision required. Farming used to mean long hours and hard labor. Now it's about managing tech and leveraging machine learning. Then there's drone farming, drones that monitor crops, track health, and spray with surgical precision. Electric and hybrid tractors are also catching on, especially with younger farmers who want sustainability and lower costs. Startups like Monarch Tractor are jumping in too, with sleek self-driving machines that feel more Silicon Valley than Heartland. John Deere gets it. Their push into precision agriculture, AI, and electric tech isn't just smart, it's do or die. Companies that don't keep up won't just lose market share, they'll vanish. So what do you think? Is John Deere on the right track, or should they focus on keeping things stateside? Drop your thoughts in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. If you like this deep dive, hit that thumbs up, subscribe, and ring the bell for more stories shaping our world. Stay sharp, stay curious, and we'll see you next.